What's good, tribe? You? No. I finally realized I'm that old guy. When I was young, when I was younger, we had an older black man that sat in our neighborhood, and he might have been in his late, late 40s, early 50s, right? Now, mind you, we're kids. I think I can't be no more than 5, 6. I might have been about 6, maybe. And he used to sit on his porch and smoke weed. We always thought we always called him a drug addict. I might have been about 10, man, but we called the man a drug addict because he was sit on his porch and smoked weed, and he had a so his house was one of the nicer houses in our neighborhood, and he would or his porch was screened in, and he had furniture, and it was a really nice screen, like that steel kind of screen was really nice, really nice, and so he would leave stuff on his porch because if you broke into his porch, it wasn't like cutting the screen you can get in. You needed like a buzz saw to cut those things in. So if you try to get in, he knew it. So he left like stuff on his porch. So we would go to his porch and look on his porch and see like lighters and weed, or left out weed on his porch, right? And then he'd catch us. We would run away. We call him we used to call him a drug addict because we were told that marijuana was just horrible drug, man. And I was realizing just now that I have become that guy. I am now the old man on his porch smoking weed, man. I mean, of course, like the kids now, they understand is there's medical versions of it, but growing up, we was told that was a drug, and you was a drug addict if you if you was on your porch smoking it. Times have changed, man. So we actually go into a dispensary to buy my smoke, and as I was in there, now I think the kids that were in there were in their late to early, they're early to late 20s, and the one young lady saw me and she started laughing like she thought it was the funniest thing in the world. Well, here I am, 48 years old, almost 50. You know, I remember a time where, and a lot of y'all remember a time where, like, you didn't just you couldn't just walk into a building, buy weed, walk out of it without getting arrested, and buy ounces, 6, 7, 8, 9 ounces at a time, and no one go, oh, oh yeah, you going to jail, sir. That wasn't a thing, man. Like it wasn't a thing to legally do it. That wasn't a thing, man. I know I'm probably giving it way more thought or consideration than I probably should, but like I remember a time where you didn't just um you couldn't just, like, that wasn't a thing. Like you had to be secretive about going to buy your weed, and you had to be secretive about who you got it from and where you got it from and the amount you got, and it wasn't just like something that was talked about, even in the news. And if it was talked about in the news, it was discussed as like, criminal, and we're gonna lock these drug dealers up. And now you have people who actually own dispensaries, who own farms, who have these medical licenses that provide a service for people. Now that's a thing, and I know I'm looking at it from like this very um like optimistic kind of perspective, but I remember a time where it wasn't a thing, man. And I smoke now. I had the option of buying these stroke pills that were $45 per pill, and you had to buy a 30-day supply. So you're talking about $1,200 easily, um, for per bottle that I would have to buy every month. You know, this I can actually go to the dispensary, spend $200 and get enough to last me a month, month and a half, probably two easily, depending on how I use it. But you know, um, as I'm in there, buying a weed, I'm reflecting on like y'all don't find it's just like the concept of it is being able to walk into a building, Here in the state of Michigan, being able to walk into a building, um, buy some weed, multiple ounces of weed with your money, right? And then walk out and not get pulled over and or arrested for buying some weed. The fact that no one sees that is just, maybe I'm thinking about it too deeply, but it you know, that was my first time actually. Well, yeah, that was my first time walking to a dispensary here last week. No, probably my third time. But I just, I have this like, the concept is like y'all don't just see how wonderful that is. And then, there's people who medically need it, who legitimately medically need it. I am one of those people. I genuinely need it you know, uh, for my stroke, for my nerve damage, for my constant twitches. If I don't have that in me, man, I'd be a twitching fool, right? I would be a stuttering fool. It slows me down, it calms me down, it allows me to focus. I mean, I make fun of it, but it's it went from this thing we laughed about, we made fun of people for using, to now this awesome medicine. And it's fascinating, man. That's been 30, 38, almost 40 years that figure 40 plus years ago, this was, not even 40 plus years ago, but you go back 40 plus years ago, it was extremely criminalized. Like, people who spent multiple years in prison in the state of Michigan for marijuana. Now you can legally walk your ass into a dispensary, buy some, and you not go to jail for 20, 30 years. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it is the week that got me speaking like this, but I think that's an amazing, man. I think we live in amazing, amazing times, and I am one who is grateful for the times we live in, because we go from this kind of narrow mindset of life to being more open and more understanding of things, and uh, I don't know how to describe it, but I think that when I look back from a child to the adult I am now, and just how life has changed, man. I don't think that people really understand, like, where we are, right? Like, right now, I'm on my phone, right? I'm in my home on my phone, um, in our community, right? Um, Older people, homeowners, all older people, kind of like settle into their life. And I look at my life now, and look back to what my life was 20 plus years ago. Was night and day. And think about, 20 plus years ago, I couldn't be on my phone in front of my own home, sending writing a message and then posting it on social media, which we didn't have at the time, and having 300 people view my story and go, yeah, I'm in the same boat. This wasn't a thing, man. Like, I couldn't do this and connect with like at least a couple hundred people. Now you can. World has changed so much, man. And I can't imagine in 10 years, the world is going to be a completely different place. 10 years. It's a completely different place year by year. Imagine 10 years from now. And 10 years ain't shit, man. 5 years from now? Let's go 5 years. 2030. 5 years from, just 5 years from now. In 2030, the world will be a completely different place. You won't even recognize it. You'll go back and you'll think back, like I myself think back to COVID, and um, the state that the world was in as to where we are now. It's changed, man. It's changed. And I guess to some degree, it's changed for the better. Like, it actually has improved society in some way, right? You think about it, and you're like, at least it's changing for the better. And in some ways, it has. Human beings we're the kind of creature that don't really learn, firsthand, but we are learning. And I guess the best part is that as we evolve, we do realize that, some of the things we villainize, we probably shouldn't villainize, because looking at it, we go, I probably should have been a little more, um, had a little more discernment with that situation. I don't know. Just me thinking. I'm out, tribe. Peace.